Hey, what's up guys, it's Scuba. So today I want to talk about my entire experience with Reach Out Reptiles, everything leading up to me purchasing, and all the way through me actually receiving the animal and every interaction that I've had with the team, and basically just the whole journey going through everything to get the snake. So this story actually starts off with me hunting to buy a boa. Spoiler alert, I didn't get a boa from Reach Out Reptiles, but it does start with me looking for one, specifically like a IMG Motley boa. But what I did know I wanted was something more substantial. I've always been a ball python guy. You guys have seen Nunu. He's not co-hosting with me today because he's actually deep in blue right now, so I'm leaving him alone and we're just kind of going solo until later. Yeah, I wanted a boa. I wanted something bigger. I was thinking doom rolls because Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles throws me a sales pitch every time I hop on his channel. I thought that might be a really good option. BCI would be a really good option. Like I said, I really wanted a IMG boa. That next weekend, I ended up going to the Reptarium, Brian Barczyk's whole project. And fun fact, the Reptarium is actually like 10 minutes away from my house, so I ended up spending a couple times going there. And the first time that I went, I got to meet Brian. That was really cool. I got to hold a bunch of his bigger animals, but I wanted to go there to check out his bigger Doomrils boa, and I wanted to hold some of the BCIs that he had. What I didn't anticipate was me absolutely falling in love with his cow morph reticulated python named Pradilla, I believe. Yeah, that animal is just amazing. When the staff member just kind of put it over my head and like it held on to me, there was a certain confidence to it that I didn't ever get with another reptile before. It was trying to figure me out, and there was like an intelligence, like an awareness that I never got with like ball pythons, and it was a substantial snake. So I was like, that is a really cool animal. But I cannot keep a retic. Not with my current experience level, not with the space that I have. But hopefully in the future, I can do a huge naturalistic kind of environment, like almost a whole room for a retic. That would be kind of like my dream at this point, but right now, not so much. So after I go and do that, this was around the same time that the whole big YouTuber bash happened with Snake Discovery doing the build off. I mean, it had Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles, Clint's Reptiles, Dave Kaufman, Brian Cusco. It was just like everyone that you would watch for reptile content was there. And there was one guy that I didn't recognize, and that's Garret Hartle. Garret Hartle is the owner of Reach Out Reptiles. He's the breeder of most of the animals that he distributes, and just overall swell guy. So after seeing his build, I immediately just started binging his content because I thought what he was doing was really, really creative and really interesting. So I was like, I want to see what this guy's about. So I've heard the word superdwarf and dwarfs thrown around before, but I never understood what that exactly meant. To my ignorance, I thought it was some kind of like genetic deformity, something more akin to like a paradox ball python or something like that, rather than something that was allelic. And actually, like, I was completely in the wrong ballpark. What superdwarf and dwarf is, and you can check out Garrett's videos on this stuff. He's way more knowledgeable about this, but what they are essentially is localities. I don't know how these snakes got on these smaller islands, but they somehow did. Maybe there was a hurricane that swept them off and they just refused to die. I have no idea, but they're there, and through years and years of evolution, they just ended up being a lot smaller, probably because there was a lot less food to go around, probably not a lot of competition, so they didn't really need the size to be the same adapted as they would be in other parts of Indonesia. But yeah, it's just they are not the same animal, but they are the same animal. It's a very weird like thing when it goes into the localities. So learning about all that stuff was really, really cool, to understand like that there isn't really like a genetic allelic thing like you would see with like a banana ball python, but it's adds another dimension to the idea of breeding too, because usually you got your species and you got your morph, and sometimes there's like line breeding that goes into different morphs to make them a little bit more this way or a little bit more that way. But now we have a completely different dimension, and that's size. When you can have anything that's like bull snake sized all the way up to like giant monster, that's a really cool dynamic to have, and to selectively breed different localities together to make them a different size. That's what's super interesting to me. With that being said, how was my interactions with the team when I went to go purchase the snake? As soon as I was set that I was going to get a superdwarf, I immediately looked at his website and checked out like what he had available through his different like clutch system. He's got like a bunch of hashtags and stuff so you can like follow along. I think I set on a 50% Kalatoa that was platinum and one that was wild type. I think those two are the ones that I picked and I inquired about. The guy that answers the emails, G.I. Joe, shout out to him, he was awesome. He sent me back a list of 4 snakes because of course the ones that I wanted were not available anymore. So he sent me back a list, and there's a few that I just thought were completely out of my price range, but they were not. Out of the 4, 2 were big winners to me. One of them was a little bit unattainable for me price wise, so we had our winner. After that, we figured out payment. Garret actually called me personally to get everything figured out, and man, we just talked shop for a while. It was pretty cool. He almost seemed like he was vetting me as a keeper, not in like an antagonistic way, but more in a I want to know if my baby's going to a good home kind of a way, which is kind of great to hear. And nothing seemed antagonistic about it. It just was almost like lightheartedly just trying to figure me out, like and it was just cool to really hear like the excitement in his voice about doing what he was doing. And this was like way past like the end of a normal work day. For like, this was after I was off of work, and man, I think we were on the phone for like an hour just shooting the shit about stuff, and it was just great. He just was a super down-to-earth guy. We got all the payment stuff figured out, so I should be getting my snake next week. That following Monday, I believe, there was a hurricane warning and all shipments got delayed. So I got delayed 1 week. G.I. Joe, I think he was stationed out in Korea at the time. He was up till 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning his time, like sending out emails to everybody, making sure everyone's accounted for, to try to figure out a plan for everybody getting their snakes. Props to that guy for doing that. That was just pretty great that he took the time, especially since he was off doing something else. It was just, yeah. So finally, the next week rolls around and no issues. I'll go into, you'll see the video of me going and picking up my snake and stuff later on. But before I get into that, I just kind of want to talk about like the philosophy behind Garret and what he does and like what he's trying to do, because I think it's really interesting. The first thing is like, it almost seems like a conservation effort. He's told stories on his channel about how when dwarf and super dwarf started happening, people started crossing everything up and like not preserving any data on the bloodlines, and now everybody's confused. You have no idea what's in your snake, what kind of genetics. No, you don't have any lineage, and it was just kind of big like cluster of crap that was going on in the industry, and he saw that needed to change. Also, he has some hard, fast breeding rules that I know at least anybody that works with him have to follow, and he also follows rigorously. One of those being, which I think is super important, you cannot advertise the super dwarf or dwarf tags unless it's at least 50%. So to get a Jampea dwarf or something, excuse me, to get a Jampea dwarf, you would have to be at least 50% Jampea for you to call it a dwarf. If not, that's just a retic in his eyes. If you want to get a Kalatoa super dwarf, it would have to be 50%. I believe that it still works with, like, if you have a cross and it's like 25% Kalatoa, 25% Karampa, then it would still be a super dwarf. But yeah, hard, fast rules so you can kind of predict sizing. That's really, really, really important, because one of the biggest problems with the retic industry is people not knowing what they're getting into size-wise. I think that's a lot of ignorance on the people that are taking it upon themselves to care for these animals. If you are embarking on a journey that's going to take you taking care of like a 20-foot monster snake, you should probably know that it's going to turn into that in a few years, right? But yeah. But Reach Out Reptiles actually takes it a step further. When I went online and went to go order my snake, there was actually estimated size. I don't remember how many clutches that he said he's done, but he's been doing this for a very, very long time. He's kind of got a good knack for guesstimating at the sizing of what his babies are going to be. He has a long line, like a long lineage of doing dwarf and super dwarfs specifically. So he has a sense of the size, and has a really good idea of like what all localities bred with other things are going to be, which is awesome. I think that's pretty much everything that I have to say about Reach Out Reptiles. I really appreciate what they're doing. I think they're a really cool bundle of people. Shout out Thomas. Maybe someday you'll get to play with our Ursa. And yeah, it's like, it's just good people, man. With that being said, let's go into the whole unboxing experience and all of that. Starting. All right, so I'm heading out right now to go pick up the snake. Sorry about the audio quality, but yeah, I'm super excited, and we'll see you in a minute. So I'm on my way right now to go pick him up, and I'm super excited. As you guys know, it was delayed a few times, but for the actual shipping time, it actually got here early, and that's super great for me, because I had to leave work to go do this, and being able to just pick them up like not in the middle of the day and like leave everybody hanging at work is kind of a great thing for me. So yeah, we'll see you soon. All right, we just made it to the location. Sorry about the audio again. This is early, so I didn't exactly have the time to get all mic'd up and fancy for this, but I'll see you guys soon. All right, now time for the whole unboxing experience. Very nice custom box with the branding of Reach Out Reptiles, and it comes with a few cards. This card is pretty important. This is the hatch certificate. It has all the genetics, including the mother and father pairing, as well as the genetics of your particular snake, and even the locality percentages. It even has a nice little handwritten note from Garret. This card right here, this is the clutch system, and it basically explains all that through Instagram, and it comes with this cute little sticker. There is this nice packing material as well that fits the branding. Very unique. I haven't seen anything quite like it. And this tin. The tin is interesting. It's actually lined with cocoa fiber for the animal's comfort, and I believe it probably has something to do with thermals. I'm not quite sure. And now let's crack this guy open. He is absolutely magnificent. He's a little bit fired down. Or fired up rather, I don't know the terminology, but they change colors, which is super cool. As soon as I pick him up, there's no defensive posturing, there's nothing like that. He's just inquisitive, trying to figure out who this large monkey man that brought him into this strange place is, and he's just absolutely gorgeous. So let's get into some nice, juicy B-roll of this guy, because I know he definitely deserves it. So, all right, guys, here he is in all of his glory. This is Dio, and I just wanted to show you guys how he's doing, his little update. We shot the actual B-roll of him and that whole fancy schmancy shoot for him a couple days ago, and he's starting to get established. He's super friendly. Just checking out my microphone and crawling all over it. Hope that doesn't make an issue for the audio. I just wanted to have him pop on and help me do the outro. If you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me get motivated to do more stuff like this. We're gonna get him set up in a really cool enclosure. He's in the enclosure actually right behind me, and we're gonna do some really cool stuff with that. And let's just say that his namesake is gonna play a part into it. Yeah. Also, a little fun fact about his name, Dio, not only from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but the one thing that got Dio's name in the show was Dio, the musician. Since we got the iridescence on him and he's nocturnal, that's a rainbow in the dark, right? And with the actual JoJo's reference, because everything's a JoJo's reference, he is a Sunfire Platinum. So kind of like a Star Platinum, kind of like the world. And that's basically close enough to Dio stand, right? Like the world is basically Star Platinum. He's such a cool guy. But yeah, like I said, sharing and liking this video helps me get motivated a lot, and so me and Dio can keep making cool stuff like this, right? All right, again, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.